Hello, TradingView community. Welcome to my new analysis about Berkshire. And within Berkshire, there happened some very important developments within the recent times. And this is why I'm discussing today the major developments that happened within Berkshire within the recent times. And first of all, Berkshire bounced into this new all-time high area. And this was a major step in this whole structure because within the whole stock market, there are still many stocks that are really bearish and that form some bearish developments to the downside. And this is why this major breakout into the new all-time high direction is so very important for Berkshire and this whole structure. And when looking at this whole dynamic here within this whole structure, Berkshire has now bounced into these new all-time high directions. And what is also a really important factor that is actually driving now the price of Berkshire to the upside and into the new all-time high area is the case that their earnings had experienced massive gains to the upside within the recent quarters. Within Q2 of 2023, Berkshire has shown up with a major earnings quarter that topped all expectations for the Q2 developments. And now, when looking at the smooth structure, there are also important other developments that are going on within the Berkshire stock because a lot of their stock holdings and cash holdings are actually within the Apple stock. And Apple also had some really important developments to the upside and could show up with major developments into the bullish directions. And this is why this is also positive for the bullish developments within Berkshire that have shown up here within all these recent times. And when looking at the smooth structure here, Berkshire bounced into this new all-time high area and is now developing here further. And this is a really important development because Berkshire had already these were bouncings here within this ascending trend line. And this is actually a major ascending trend line for Berkshire forming here within this whole structure. And especially as the recent breakouts into the new all-time high area have established it, this was a major development. And now we're looking at this whole structure here. When looking at the 4-hour time frame perspective, within this whole structure, Berkshire is now about to complete a major formation as it already bounced here within this whole structure, showing up with this huge bullish development, with this huge candle to the upside and bouncing into the new all-time high area. And what is so important here within this whole area is that Berkshire actually is now forming this main ascending triangle formation. And such a ascending triangle formation has major abilities to complete once the price action has broken out above the upper boundary of this whole ascending triangle formation. And therefore, this is actually a major formation structure here that should not be underestimated because, especially when this breakout happens above the upper boundary, as Berkshire is now completing this main formation structure within the wall formation. This will be a major setup from where Berkshire has the abilities to continue into these directions and show up with some heavy developments into this direction. And in this case, Berkshire will also have activated major target zones within this wall structure. And in this case, the wall target zone projections can be projected onto the breakout area. And from here on, Berkshire actually has some great abilities to continue further and to reach out all of these target zones within this wall structure, especially as it's going to bounce above the 380 level. And when looking at this whole dynamic here on the daily time frame perspective also, once the breakout happened of this whole ascending triangle formation, this will actually be the confirmation of the whole bigger ascending triangle formation structure to be completed. And in this case, Berkshire will actually have activated much more target zones within this whole structure. And in this case, from there on, Berkshire will actually have activated targets above the 470 area especially when looking at this very gigantic ascending triangle formation here within the structure. And therefore, not every stock within the stock market currently forms such a development, because there are many stocks that show up with huge bearish developments and that are more likely to show up with a major breakdown to the downside. And this is also really important here, because it will be really important for Berkshire to move into this final 380 zone here, because especially when the momentum should be really low when looking at the sword dynamic, when the momentum moving into the zone will be really low, this will be a major sign that Berkshire could, in this case, also pull back again and retest these main remaining levels within the sword structure. Because if Berkshire should test these levels and it should not hold these levels and pull back below the lower boundary of this were ascending triangle formation, this could also invalidate this were ascending triangle formation. Therefore, this will be a really, really important development to watch out within the next times, especially when looking at this war dynamic, especially if the momentum should slow down when Berkshire moves into these final target zones. This could also lead to a pullback here within this wall structure and invalidate this wall ascending triangle formation with the breakdown below these levels. And therefore, these will be the major target determinations in any cases. What I am seeing now here, if Berkshire Hathaway does not show up with major bearish developments and it should turn to the downside, with the stock market actually showing up with a major supply shock within the market that drives this US CPI to the upside and shows up with the inflation that we have seen since April 2022. This could also lead to the major reversal dynamic here within this whole structure and invalidate this full formational structure. However, if this does not happen, and if Berkshire Hathaway actually has the ability to stay here within this full structure and to build up here above this upper boundary of this ascending triangle formation, then there are strong and likelihood possibilities, high likelihood possibilities that from there on Berkshire Hathaway has the ability to continue further with the dynamics to be expected to emerge here within this whole structure. And therefore, this will be a major development here, this ascending triangle formation, because also when Berkshire Hathaway should hold this whole ascending triangle formation, then from there on, this could also be the case that from there on, Berkshire Hathaway actually has the ability to bounce here within this ascending triangle formation and form the origin of the next wave E within this whole structure to emerge and to extend with the whole wave E within this whole structure development. And therefore, this will be a really, really interesting development to watch out within the next times, especially when looking at this whole ascending channel formation here within this whole structure. This is a really, really important ascending channel formation, because it will also determine the time action when the major targets will be reached. And therefore, there are 5 factors to watch out now within the next times. The first factor, the completion of this ascending triangle formation. The second factor, the momentum when this whole triangle formation has been completed and the price action reaches out to the target zones. The third factor, if a pullback should show up here or if a pullback should not show up here. The fourth factor, the overall stock market developments, and if the stock market overall turns out to the bearish direction and many stocks are showing up with huge bearish declines within the market, this could also be a factor that could affect the Berkshire Hathaway stock developments also. And besides that, the fifth factor is the US CPI. When the US CPI declines further within the next times, this will also be a positive factor for Berkshire Hathaway to continue with these developments. And therefore, these will be the major developments to consider here within this war dynamic. And this is why we are keeping this stock within our watch list and consider the dynamic again once the important changes have set up and re-evaluate the situation again. With this being said, it will be great when you support my project further with a like, follow, and comment. And therefore, have a good day. See you. Bye bye.